Hello and welcome back to Live Cardboard. This is episode number 10. I hope I missed you all. A couple weeks ago, I was away in Iceland with the family on a family vacation. Of course, I didn't get any wargaming done in Iceland. Played a bit of Scrabble with my wife. That was about it. But I was happy to see that in Reykjavik there's a very large game store with a decent war game section. Even had some GMT and Phalanx games there. So yeah, I guess wargaming is live in Iceland somewhere. I just didn't have time to check it out. Anyway, it was a good time. But I'm glad to be back here tonight, back with all of you. Totally happy to be talking. We'll talk when we get to the topic a little later on. Talk about air games, mostly tactical, but a few other scales as well. Yeah, I've been an air war addict for a long time. Anyway, well, before we get started, I want to just say thanks to everyone for coming. Especially a big shout out to the Pushing Cardboard supporters. If you'd like to become a supporter, there's a link to my Ko-Fi page in the video description. There's also all those super stickers, super thanks. So all that YouTube stuff is available as well. Please like the video, subscribe to the video, all that stuff. The stuff that makes people find the channel. That'd be a big help as always. Last time, a month ago, the topic was clever mechanics in games, and I only got through about half the game, so I'll revisit that topic again. But it was I got a great email from viewer Steven Janser. He couldn't wait to see if his favorite mechanic was going to be mentioned in the subsequent video. So he wrote me a very detailed letter about how highly he thinks of the battalion combat system from MMP, and he thinks the whole thing is so clever to him that he feels it should be listed as a clever mechanic. So anyway, I've got his letter posted on my website. Check it out if you're on the fence about BCS. It's a great description of all the things that makes BCS great for Stephen, and could be great for you as well. Good to see those of you who've checked in on the in the comment section, the chat line there. James, Stacking Limit, Wolfdog, Jonathan. Glad to have you all here. I guess we should just zip right into the news and get on with things, because I got a lot of games to talk about tonight. Who knows if I'll get to all of them. So we'll get to the news and there's a bit. I guess the first thing up is the CSR ballots are closed, and I assume that they're counted already. Watch for an announcement from Ardwolf or Dan on the Chit Show. I think they announced the winners live on Dan's No Enemies Here channel. Dan does up a big video production to announce it all. So check that out. I think I heard from Ardwolf that they hope to get something announced before Origins, but Origins is a big deal for Ardwolf, and so he hosts several events there and stuff like that. So I think the latest word was they didn't get it done before Origins, so it's going to be after Origins. So I'm a long way from Origins. I guess it's this weekend. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, we'll know the winner soon. So good luck to all the nominees. Lucky for me, the GMT June update just arrived yesterday. I always laugh at Brant from the Armchair Dragoons, because he releases his weekly news updates on Tuesdays, and GMT always releases their news on Wednesdays. So Brant is always he misses it by one day. So Brant, I got you on this one. I come on Thursdays and they come on Wednesdays, so it's perfect for me. Anyway, I'll just I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but there are a few things that caught my eye that I wanted to talk about. First up, Gene, of course, thanked everybody for taking part in their sale, their big 25% off everything sale. He said it was a big success. It's managed to keep their cash flow in the right direction and things going well. He said they're still working on setting up their direct from China shipping for international customers. They say it's going to be another 4 or 5 weeks before they get that started. And in the meantime, they didn't want to just quit shipping everything. So they're shipping a small group of products, but just to USA customers first. There's one on this list that might have a lot of you jumping. There's 4 things from Space Empires. There's a 5th printing. There's Space Empires Close Encounters, Space Empires Replicators, and Space Empires All Good Things. There's a 3rd printing of Talon, but the one that I think people have really been waiting for a long time for is 2nd edition of Barbarossa Army Group North. I think I haven't played that series, but I know it has a lot of fans, and people have been like really waiting for reprints to finally come on that. So I guess if you're in the US, you're going to get those about a month or a month and a half before those of us who ordered them in the if we're in Canada or Europe or Australia, wherever. Another interesting thing was GMT said they're expanding their line of European games. They already were US distributors for Hexasim and Shakos and a couple others. They've added Sound of Drums, which is great. The Sound of Drums has got a good line of games, including the recent last year's ILAO, and they've got another Napoleonic title coming out this year. So if you're in the States, you're not going to have to order those from all the way from Sound of Drums. I think Germany. Were they from Germany? I think so. I can't remember. Maybe France. Anyway, good to know that GMT is beefing up that line. The other sort of news that was a bit, well, it's good. It's good news. GMT is, they're making right a bunch of mistakes for counters for the Battle of Normandy. This is that giant Normandy game. And there were mistakes on 91 of the counters. I think there's like 2,000 counters or something. So 91 is not a huge amount. But anyway, they're doing a complete free replacement. If you ordered that game via P500 or off their website, you don't have to do anything. They've got your address. They're just going to send you the replacement counters free of charge. They'll just show up. If you bought the game from your local game store or something like that, you just need to contact GMT and give them your address, and they'll send them to you again free of charge. So that's that's what you would expect, but you don't always see that. You don't always see companies doing the things that you'd expect. So good on them for doing that. In terms of the new on P500, there's just 2 reprints this month on the new to P500 list. There's Paths of Glory and Last 100 Yards Russia. That's a pretty quick turnaround for Last 100 Yards Russia. They must have underestimated the demand for that. Anyway, it was interesting to see that there's just those 2 games on the P5, the new P500s. No surprise really, because Gene had said that they were going to scale back production and the tempo that they release things for a bit while they wait for the trade situation to settle. So, if you used to feel that GMT just kept releasing a non-stop torrent of games that it was impossible to keep up with, that torrent is dialed down for a while until they're sure that they've got a handle on the tariff situation and the shipping situation and this new way they're going to ship internationally. That's kind of it for news. The other news, of course, some of you said you'd like to hear about new games that are coming. So I got a couple of those. The first one, I should have mentioned this. I forgot. This is games coming to Steam. Space Corp. So everybody knows probably that Rebel Fury already made it onto Steam, and that Mr. President was on its way to Steam. But now they've announced Space Corp, which I think is going to be one of those games that crosses over to the non-wargaming crowd, of course. And then the other one that surprised me, I don't think I have a slide for this, but Saratoga from Battles of the American Revolution series by Mark Miklos. So it'll be great to see that. I have no idea if that one has an AI in it. I expect so. Most games that are on Steam have an AI, so here's hoping. Anyway, good news to see Space Corp. I think a lot of you are going to be excited about that one. Now, new games coming. The first one is this is from a new game from David Thompson. I think David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin, actually, and it's part of the same world as their Undaunted Callisto game. But it's not technically an Undaunted game. It's not the exact same mechanics as that. It's set in the same world, but well, they describe it as a combination of deck building and lane battling, which if you're a Euro player, that probably makes more sense to you. I'm not a big Euro guy, so all I know is I've seen the cards are laid out in like five rows or 5 columns, so that must be how the lane battling happens. I don't know. Anyway, I'll probably check it out because I check out most anything those guys do. I love their games. So yeah, there it is. Line of Fire, Burnt Moon. Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree, John. I think in terms of Mr. President, I think actually that's the only way I want to play that game. That if you've ever seen Mr. President on the table, I don't want to depress their sales for the physical copy or anything, but its table footprint is immense. It is huge. It's a bit overwhelming, which I think being the President of the United States is probably an overwhelming job if you're doing it properly as well. So I think Mr. President is going to be on Steam is going to be just the way to go, instead of having to keep track of all those moving all those tracks and putting little markers here and there. Anyway, yeah. So that's the first new game. The next one is this is from Draco Ideas. This is Castel Nuovo 1539. It's a siege game for those of you who love siege games. It uses the pieces are blocks, but it's also it's a card-driven game. So blocks and cards and a siege situation. I'm not usually a siege guy, but I've tried this. They sent me a copy to check out, and so it's basically the Spanish are in the castle with a couple of outposts, and then the Ottomans are just they're endlessly coming after them. They're when they take losses, they regenerate a little bit, and in that situation, I always think it's going to be a little boring to play the besieged side. But I found so far in my plays with this game that the besieged side, the Spanish, have enough things to do and enough tricks up their sleeve that they're still fun to play. It's not all about the Ottomans, the besiegers in this game. So anyway, the Kickstarter is up and live for this if you're interested. Just like anything else, I think I've got a link for this in the video description if you want to check it out and find out about it, or go to the Pushing Cardboard website. I'm sure I have it in the news section there, where there's a link for that sort of stuff. And then another European publisher. These are 3 new games from Three Crowns. Allenby's Gamble, which is the Battle of Gaza, 1917. So a World War I in the Middle East sort of game. Interesting to me because my wife's grandfather was with the Royal Air Corps, the Royal Flying Corps, I think they called it back then, in I think somewhere in Persia in World War I. So anyway, The other ones, Stalin's Last Chance, that's World War II in Finland, and then Desert Duel is two World War II North Africa games. One is what is it? Battle Axe, and then the other one is the Battle of Matruh or Matruth. I'm never sure how you say that. I see it. I see it spelt with a th at the end or just an h at the end. I'm never sure which way it's going to go. And then I don't know how many of you are also ASLers like me, but this is an interesting new thing from MMP for ASL. It's another historical ASL product, HASL, but this rarely happens. This product includes no counters. You know, I'm sure if you're like me, you feel like you've got more counters that you're ever going to need anyway, and yet every product has more counters that you got to clip and sort and store. This uses just the counters you already have. All it includes is a map and the rules and a scenario card or two, and that's it. So it just comes in. It's not even in a box. It comes in a Ziploc bag, and I think it's got like, I think its price point is something like $32, and if you pre-order it, it's $28 or something. I mean, it's like if you're used to paying through the nose for ASL products, like we all are, if we're ASLers, to see something that's like about $30 US is just imagine. It's fantastic. Yeah, I'm with you. Well, Chef Dupont. Well, very good. I don't know if that's a typo or if that's just the way it goes, but I'm totally looking forward to it as well. I pre-ordered it because well, I just I wanted to support them and their idea of maybe putting out more things that are HASL but don't require new counters. I mean, they put out scenario packs all the time, the action packs and that don't have counters. But in terms of HASL, they never put. It's always got a bunch of new counters. Well, yeah. I don't know. Does that mean what did they used to call him? The Ox or something like that? I guess. And good, Dan, good to see you. I don't know if you're here. I already promoted that. I think I've got it right that when the CSRs are announced, you're going to do it on your No Enemies Here show. I think I've got that right, isn't it? Sometime it's not announced yet, but it's going to come up sometime after Origins. I think that's right. I think that's what you've done in the past. So I'm glad to. I was glad to pass that along. I look forward to seeing how it all works out. Anyway, I was away for a month, and yeah, good. Yeah, Dan says yes. So there you go. All good. I was away for a couple of weeks, so I haven't seen you for a month. And you'd think the way that games show up at my door, or more accurately, like I order games and they show up at my door, that there would have been a giant pile. That there would have been a giant pile of games waiting for me, but actually, there's only I think one game waiting for me, and one I went out and bought. So in terms of new games for me, the new stuff I got. This was the first one. This isn't brand new. Some of you probably already have it or know about it. This is 1916 Verdun Campaign of Attrition from Conflict Simulations LLC. I don't have any of their games, as I said, but my local game store, they decided to take sort of a sample of a few of them. So they brought in about, I don't know, 8 or 15 or something like that. And I bought one. I didn't have one yet, and decided to give it a go. I don't know. I don't know anything about this company. I know that they have a bit of a rough reputation with printers in that they were having their stuff printed in the past by Blue Panther, but Blue Panther pulled the plug on that, I think, because of lack of payment or some kind. I don't know. I don't know the details, just what I've read on the web. But anyway, so I don't know who's printing for CSL now, but I'm going to give the game a shot and see what it's like. It was a bit on the expensive side, which, if they're going the print on demand method, that's no surprise. Anyway, that was the first one, and then the other one. This finally arrived for me. I backed this on Kickstarter and forgot about it, and then I realized, maybe a month or so ago, that I was seeing people talking about it and playing it, and mine hadn't arrived. So I got a hold of Worthington and said, "Hey, I backed the Kickstarter to have a look, and but mine's never arrived." And good on them. They just sent me one right away, so my copy came. Oh, that's interesting, Texagander. I don't know anything about this game, so the first thing I hear about it is that somebody has problems with the rules. I guess I'm going to have to make sure that I'm properly awake and ready to go when I finally tackle it. So okay, well, but if you'd like to hear a review, but I guess then when I struggle my way through it, I better post something about it anyway. So good to hear. Stacking Limits played Stalin's favorites already. I played previous boxes in the Band of Brothers series and enjoy it. I never enjoyed the rule book. I always felt like Jim Crone was writing a bit of a I hate ASL kind of rule book. He was trying to, I don't know, rub me a bit the wrong way. But the game itself, I enjoyed playing, and so I look forward to diving into this one. It's it should be fun. It's I can never get too many World War II tactical games, as I'm sure you all can remember if you were here for the World War II tactical episode. Okay, well that's it for my my new what's new in my the cupboards. So let's get on to talking about air war games. As a kid, probably like a lot of you, I made models, plastic models, and tanks. Tanks was my number one thing. I made just endless tanks, but planes were definitely number two, and both World War II and World War I planes. And then I started making balsa wood model planes, and again I stuck to World War I and World War II planes. Then I had my two biggest successes for balsa wood modeling was I made a P-51 Mustang that I was really proud of, and then even better was my Fokker DR-1 triplane. It was just gorgeous, and I was a kid. I was 12 or 13, so I painted it full on red, made it the the von Richthofen plane. I mean, if the internet had been around back then, and I could have seen all the wild kind of paint jobs that were put on those planes, I probably would have picked something more interesting. But anyway, I guess what I'm trying to say is with that history of modeling. When I started playing war games, my family moved from a small town to the city when I was 13, and I finally got to see like real war games on a shelf in a store. And Tobruk and Richthofen's War were the first two games I bought, the tanks and the planes, right? Well, that's interesting to know. Very, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I saw my store brought in like just a sample from all kinds of different eras from CSL. So I might have to check that out. I did get the feeling that it was a one-man operation. Ray Weiss, I think the fellow's name is. So yeah, well, we'll see how Verdun goes, and if I like that, then I'll maybe check out this something from his Napoleonic line. And yeah, Michael, you're quite right about the painstakingly constructed and then destroyed by fireworks. Of course, I'm in Canada. Access to crackers, it was not a thing, but I did have a BB gun and a pellet gun. So that's how it happened. Well, that is not. I wish it was. It's that's a Squire Strat. It's an 84 when they were still made in Japan before they moved to Korea. She's a true, she is a, even though it's a Squire, it's a beauty. It's I've had lots of offers of good money for that guitar, and I'm getting old. I should probably sell it. I could probably probably buy 10 more war games with it. I'm in Calgary. Yeah. Dan, I was with my wife out in Montreal last summer, and if it had just been me alone, I would have tried to look you and Carl Parody and any other people out in Quebec up while I was there. and had my rental car and was zipping around. But the limit of my war game activities was I made it to Le Valet de Cour, the fantastic game store there, and bought a couple of couple of those games, earlier games from 3 Crowns that I had mentioned earlier. Anyway, so let's talk about Air War games. I'm gonna talk about a bunch that I own. I haven't played all of them. I'll tell you what I think of the ones I own that I have played, what I'm thinking about the ones that I haven't played, and when I get to the end, I'll maybe mention a few that I feel like should be on the list, but I just I I can't have everything, right? Anyway, so we'll start with this one. This was my first game, and I'm sure it was a lot of people's very first. Yeah, you're totally right, Michael. I think Luftwaffe or Ricky's War. I think those were a lot of people's first two air games. I'll get to the Luftwaffe a little bit later. I'm going to do my World War I games first, and then the World War II ones. Anyway, with Richtowen's War, it's sort of set the template for what tactical air games were going to be like. Here's the map board or a section of it. It's air. You don't really. You could just have blue if you wanted, but there's some detail on the ground here if for scenarios where you do like trench strafing or things like that. Whew. Stephen, holy smokes! You started off flying fast. I started off with the slowest planes I could get. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's just as easy to learn Fox-Bat Phantom as it was to learn Ricky's War. Who knows? Bob, I wonder, Bob, if you're saying Ricky War was yours or was Fox-Bat Phantom. Doesn't matter. We'll try and talk about them all. So yeah, that's the map for Richtowen's War. Here's the counters. Like the counters for this game by today's standards, they're just not they're not good looking at all. But I have to say, I loved them at the time. The fact that they weren't generic drawings of planes, the fact that as you can see there, the Fokker DR1 looks different than the Albatross D2 there. I think it was a D2 or is it a, yeah. Anyway, I love these counters. I love this game. It doesn't hold up. The game, it's got that classic problem that sort of in a way it invented, in that you move, then I move and get on your tail and shoot you. Then it's your turn. You circle around and get on my tail and shoot me, and it goes on like that forever. Not exactly like that, but that's a problem in the game. Most scenarios, it was more fun if you had like 3 planes versus 3 planes, and that would ameliorate that a little bit. Then in the general, they advertised a deck of special maneuver cards that mitigated the problem a bit. Where if you were tailing me, I would play a maneuver card face down, and depending on your plane rating or your pilot rating or something, you would pick a few from your hand that you thought I might choose, and then I reveal mine. And if you didn't if you hadn't picked one of the ones in your hand that matched mine, you wouldn't be able to follow me on the tail. So that was better. And then a couple of years ago, I was reading on Board Game Geek. Somebody had come up with an interesting variation for Richtoven's War, where they cut the time scale, not scale, but the time amount in half. So instead of if your plane, say at a certain altitude, could go 8 hexes, it only goes 4 hexes now. And so some of these maneuvers you can't do the whole thing. I don't know. It just sounded really interesting, and I want to try it out. It might rekindle my interest in good old Ricky's War. I'll talk about this game later, but I definitely did kickstart the new Ace of Aces new edition. I've been surprised at how damn long it's been taking them to fulfill the Kickstarter. I know there's been problem with shipping and all that kind of stuff, but it feels like they took my money a long time ago. But that happens with Kickstarters every once in a while. Anyway, I'll definitely talk about that game in a bit for sure. The next one that I got was Dawn Patrol. Now this one was totally interesting in that it's from TSR, right? It's from at the time that was the Dungeons and Dragons people. So it's not surprising at all that what they try to do with this game is combine a tactical air game with sort of a role-playing game. It's not role-playing where like we sit around and say, well, now I'm gonna, I knock on the door, I pull out my sword. It's not like that. But what it is you keep pilot logs, and as your pilots get more experience, they increase in their ability until they become aces or whatever. They get more special maneuvers in their allowable maneuvers and things like that. So it was I really enjoyed the game. It was fun to play. It had I don't have a shot of it here, but it had sort of maneuver cards built into it right from the get-go. The other thing that was really interesting about this game is this isn't the axe. This is a different map, but this is somebody's homemade map. But the map is on a square grid, and the planes can fly. What is it? 8 directions. It's not just 4 directions. So so I can't remember who the designer is. Sorry about that. Maybe if someone looks it up, post it because I can't remember the designer of this. But it was really interesting because I even think there was a rule. There's some kind of a special rule that if you go so far on the diagonal, you lose like 1 movement point or something because otherwise you get a bit of a bonus for going diagonally instead of straight across or up and down. Anyway, that was I enjoyed that game. Oh, and this is the other thing. I think this game came out in like 81, 82, but it was the first air game I had that had full color counters. They were a bit thin. They weren't chunky like our regular Avalon Hill and SPI counters of that period. They were thin. But not unusable and so colorful, so beautiful. Totally love that game. I loved it so much that even though I lost track of my copy years ago, a couple of years, I lost mine like maybe 30 years ago. A couple of years ago when a buddy was divesting himself as of a bunch of his games, I bought his copy for like $15. I don't know if I'll ever get it to the table again, but it was one of those things that it just brings back so many memories, right? And I think some of these older games, somebody mentioned that for sure. Now, to talk about the game Dan was talking about, This is Ace of Aces. This also came out in the 80s, and this is a fantastic game. If you haven't seen it, there's no map board for this game. There's two booklets. The booklets are sort of they're about that's the box. If you cut it in half horizontally, one book fits at the top, one book fits at the bottom, sort of. And I'll show you. I'll show you a page from the. This is a page from the book. Now, this was like from the deluxe edition, the one I just showed you. I had the earlier edition and the deluxe edition. The earlier edition, all the all these pages were drawings. In the new deluxe edition, which this one was, they took photos and then drew in the firing guns and stuff like that. Yeah, that's totally. Yeah, you could totally play Ace of Aces by rotary phone, Derek. Absolutely. Oh, there we go. And Mike Carr was the designer. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, and so that makes sense. If he was a pal with Guy Jacks, that the game ended up, the game went through TSR. Anyway, this game, it's totally simple. You see, if I'm looking at this page, you'd have your book open, and you'd be looking over your shoulder and seeing me behind you, because we can see I'm tailing you in this page. We'd both choose a maneuver from along those. There's a whole row of maneuvers along the bottom there. You can see, and I tell you the number under my maneuver. You tell me the number under your maneuver. I look at your page number, you look at my page number, we look up our little symbol, and that gives us an end page number, puts us back on the same end page, and we see where we are relative to one another again. Sounds a little confusing, but it's as simple as hell, and so quick. Like you can play this on the bus. As Derek said, you could play this over the phone. Totally simple, so many hits and you're dead, that sort of thing. But then it also had more advanced rules, especially when you got to the once you got to the advanced game, or the advanced game in the deluxe package. It had these lovely aircraft sort of cards. It's actually three aircraft per card, but I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty, but if you looked at all of these, you'd see that this is a Newport 11, a Newport 17, and a Newport 28. And in the stats there, you'd see that each of them is going to fly a little differently from one another. Each one's going to have slightly different capabilities. So when you play the advanced game, all of that comes into play. And as well, in the advanced game, of course, altitude comes into play. You have to keep a little paper record of that sort of thing. But totally worthwhile. The first version of it was what they call the handy rotary edition, the one that I showed you at the beginning, which that was just those early planes that had rotary engines, and because of the way the rotation of the engine, the planes pulled to the right. So planes like the Sopwith Camel and the Fokker DR1, they turn much better to the right than they do to the left. Anyway, that's in the weeds. But that original series, the Handy Rotary series, featured those kind of planes. Then they came out with a subsequent set of books called the Powerhouse series, I think it was. So, and those planes were faster, so they could go a little farther on a turn, which was totally interesting. And the great thing was, you could play a Handy Rotary versus a Powerhouse. Like you could the decks were interchangeable. You could go at each other with different kinds of planes. I loved it. And then there was a balloon busting game. I didn't buy that one because I totally agree. It should be way more popular. But hopefully when it comes back out. I didn't get the balloon popping one, and then I think they put out even a World War II one, but it didn't take off the way the World War I one did. Anyway, it's it had been long out of print for 20 some years, and oh, Ryan, this is Ace of Aces that we're having a look at right now. This has been long out of print, but last year they announced somebody's picked up the rights, and they announced a Kickstarter, and the whole thing's getting redone. And interestingly, these, if I remember correctly from the promos for the Kickstarter, the booklets are going to be a little bigger, and I think it's photos again, but it might be drawings. But anyway, I think now it's going to be full color. So we'll see. I mean, the original black and white drawings I loved, but I'm always a guy where I don't need a lot of bling. Like, if the game is great, that's what gets me. Okay, so there was three that I loved right from those. I played the hell out of all three of these in the 80s for sure. This one I haven't played. I just got it recently. It's supposed to it's supposed to be a good game, a decent game anyway. It was I saw it on sale, like for fairly cheap, overstock at a local game store, so I bought it because I just thought I'll play any World War I game once at least. The interesting thing about this one is I think it's supposed to have simultaneous movement. So from what I hear, it's not like, or what I read, it's not as sort of complex as some of the other games. But I thought simultaneous movement would be an interesting way to go. Thanks, Derek. Glad you dropped by. And oh yeah, that's right. I'd heard that this is a light version of Wings for sure. But I hadn't played Wings either. Oh, that's interesting, Ryan. Oh, that's great. I've seen that there's still kind of like a pretty live or a lively online Dawn Patrol community that still exists. Like, that game's been out of print for, I don't know what, 25, 30 years, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that there's a bunch of people who keep in touch online and go to conventions and still play Dawn Patrol. So that's pretty cool. Speaking of, wait a minute, Aces High. There's just a shot of it. Pretty standard looking map for this stuff. Though you can't really see it in this photo. They are colored planes, so color counters. But nothing special in terms of how it looks. But it doesn't look bad. It still looks good, right? Next up is Wings. And this is a lot of people's favorites for sure. It's one I own it. It's another one that I haven't played. I think this is the box cover I have. I think this is the Excalibur version. Excalibur. It originally came up. It was published by Yaquinto, and from what I understand, the Yaquinto version had better graphics. So I guess I get the shitty the shittier graphics one. We'll get to that one for sure, Jonathan. I'm not going to pass that one up. Wings was designed by Craig S. Taylor. Craig S. Taylor, who also did Air Force and Dauntless. We'll talk about those later. As well as Flat Top and Wooden Ships and Iron Men. So and a bunch of other games. But if you think about these games, Wings, Air Force, Flat Top, really meticulously detailed games, like something about Craig S. Taylor. He really zoomed in on the minutia, not chrome, but like the real nitty gritty. So I think Wings is definitely a little trickier to play than say Aces High or Ricky's War or anything like that. But I'm sure it's going to be a great game because otherwise there wouldn't be so many people who are still who still say that that's their favorite game. Yeah, I don't know that one, but I'll check out anything he's definitely not my favorite designer. Sometimes he's too fiddly for me, but he's always worth checking out. And sad to say, he passed away if I recall correctly, just a few years ago. So rest in power, Craig S. Taylor. Next up, Eagles in the Sky. This is a relatively new game, and if you're a listener to my podcast or hang out at my website at all, you know that I've done a fair bit of content on this game. I really like this game. It's another one where it's a kind of a real departure from that standard Richthofen's War model. It's a card game. It's kind of we'll talk about Down in Flames a bit later, but if you know Down in Flames, Eagles in the Sky has a bit of that where you're matching not exactly maneuvers, but sort of maneuver categories. The designer Michael Lemick, I think Michael Lemick, I think is the designer of Eagles in the Sky. I think so. Yeah. Huh. That's funny you should say it, Stuart, because Firepower was the game that kind of turned me off. Craig Taylor. But there's no accounting for taste, right? That game's got a lot of fans too, so there you go. Well, I'm glad to hear it, Michael. I really like this game. Eagles in the Sky is it's interesting because it does have a board, but like here's the board. You can see in the center there where the sky is. There's no hex grid or anything. Look at that! Two people who I got to tell the guys at Revolution. There's somebody else who bought it because of my review. How lovely. The map board here, you see that sky section. If your plane is not engaged, usually there might be 3 planes versus 3 planes, something like that. If your plane isn't engaged in a dogfight, you put it in the middle there, and those are just like altitude levels. There's 4 altitude levels. It's so you're just saying well, you're not engaged where you're at. Those little kind of pods around the outside, once you get engaged, that's where the counters go, and you'll have like one counter will be at the front, another one will be tailing it, but then there's room for like another at the back there, and the switching of the tailing can happen. They can bounce all over the place. It's a fun game. It's also got, here you go, gorgeous counters. As you can see, there's an SE5A and a Fokker DR1, you can see the counters there. Those are pilot counters, as well as the pilot wounded and the structure hit. Those are damage counters. That's a range counter. That 3. It's really it's a beautiful stuff in many ways. I would put this up there as one of maybe Revolution's finest package in terms of component quality and how beautiful it looks. The cards are gorgeous as well. And I'm happy to say Michael Lemick, the designer, he just put out a little expansion, 1919, with a bunch of end of the war planes that didn't see much action. So that was great. Yes, definitely later. Definitely talk a little bit about Jerry White stuff. I'm not to spoil it either, but I love Jerry White as a designer, but I tend to not play a lot of solo games, so I tend to play Jerry's 2-player games. But man, you cannot pass by Jerry's solo World War II air game. So we'll talk about some of that stuff for sure. All right. Next up, in terms of ones I own. Okay, let's see if is anybody a fan of this baby? This is this is a fairly new game, but man, is that not like the worst box cover for a game that came out in, like, I don't know, 2020 or something like that? Like, that just does not grab you from the shelf. it's so boring, especially considering the components. Once you get inside, the components are fairly interesting looking. Anyway, I do have to say, once you do open it, the game is a bit of an arts and crafts project. You can see there's 3 different planes there. They're little plastic trays with stickers. So instead of a block game where you're stickering the blocks, you're stickering those little hexagonal. Well, the 2 of them are hexagonal. That other one to the right, that it's a big wide bomber. It's got its own shape, but you're stickering those on little plastic things, and then there's plastic bases, and the clear plastic, those little sort of stands you see there in different sizes, because that's how you keep track of altitude. Man, yes. Fiddly, yes. This game is too fiddly for me. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. I have a hard time letting go of games, but when I played this, I just found it infuriating to have to take apart the little stand, take a plane off of one of those, and then put it on a bigger one. It drove me crazy. Definitely a pain in the ass to assemble. I stickered everything. I'm ready to go, but every time, like, it's like, I'm so damn lazy. I think if I was playing this game, I wouldn't dive or climb, because I just don't want to be farting around with changing my stand. The other thing, now, I don't know if you are a fan of this game and you play it. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but this is what I could not find in the rules. I could not find anything about tailing in this game. No rules for being advantaged to being the one who's tailing someone else. Didn't give you any. You don't force the tail. The guy doesn't have to go first. The tailing plane doesn't get to go second. Or there's nothing like that. And I thought, how can you have a World War I flying game without some tailing? It's I don't know. It's just yeah, I was gobsmacked. So between the fiddliness and the no tailing rules, I thought something's gonna have to change with this game for me to decide to keep it, which is too bad, because I don't know. There's on the other hand, like, when you do see those little things like on their stands like that, if you didn't have to move them off them, they look pretty cool, no doubt about it. Okay, one last World War I game in my collection here, and this final one I haven't played yet either, but I did want to mention it because I generally like against the odds stuff, and this one is sort of interesting in that I haven't played it, but I've looked through it, and it's got 2 maps. It's got kind of a generic blue sky map for doing dogfights, and then it's got at a way different scale. It's got like a map of the ground. And there's a sort of an abstracted land game that goes on the ground, and as far as I can tell, the results of your dogfights affect what happens on the ground. I'm assuming that. I don't know about that one. Yeah, I'll get to that one later in my section. Well, we can talk about it now. No problem there. Bloody April. I owned it, and I just wasn't getting to it. And so I sold it on, and I totally regret it. I'd really like to play it now. It is I don't know if it's a strategic game. I don't know if you're Texagander, if you're talking about Bloody April, the units in Bloody April, the counters, I think they're not single planes, but they're squadrons. So it's kind of a strategic. Maybe you call it operational. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about that one later on, because I do. Operational for sure. I have a slide of the cover, because that's maybe the best cover in all of World War I gaming. Oh, that's interesting. Well, I don't. As I said earlier, I don't play a lot of solo games, so I'm gonna miss a fair amount, but I'll talk about a few of them at the end for sure. yeah, I think I have a couple other World War Ones that I don't know that I want to mention as well, but we'll get to that. Let's talk about some World War. Let's talk about some World War II games now. Let's start with this one. This one I own. I haven't played it yet. I I I interviewed John Butterfield a couple of years ago, and he's like one of the nicest men I've ever talked to. Just a great guy, and and talking to him, I think I managed to surprise him with a few things that I said. He wasn't he was like he was happy to be surprised, and it made him think different ways, and like he was not defensive about not having thought about something. Like he's just a wonderful man. And I definitely have played his two-player games, but the fact that this is such a seminal game, I after talking to him, I was just like, I don't know why I never bought this game, because it started out as a solitaire game, but then he added I think if I understand correctly, it started out as solitaire. You played as the British, but then he added on solitaire for the Luftwaffe and two-player. I mean, like it's the same thing he does with his enemy action games, right? It's like I don't think there's anybody like John Butterfield who can do a solitaire game from both sides and and a two-player game and make them actually fun. I think so too. I mean, this is what I hear. I can't wait to I can't wait to play it. Oh, that's good. That's good to know, James. I'll check that out. Yeah, and Dan, John Butterfield is totally a genius. He's the breadth of what that guy has done, from his solo games to his. I mean, you just think of his his solo the island games that he does for the South Pacific. It's fantastic. Plus. I mean, my first John Butterfield game was Ambush, which was like, I don't know if they still made, if they were still making solo games that were like Ambush, maybe I'd still be buying solo games. That was a fantastic game. Anyway, RAF, totally. Oh, I have one. I wanted to show this. This is the game space for. I guess you call it this is the map board for RAF, and I just think it's like sort of genius. It's like nobody does things like John Butterfield. It's just kind of beautiful, right? It's well, that's interesting. Oh, my there we go. Oh, well, that's plane and pilot management. Yeah, it's not. It's different than. It's not like a tactical game, right? It's about trying to get your resources in the right spot for trying to. If you're the RAF, you're trying to guess where the Luftwaffe is coming, and vice versa. I think that's the way it goes. Oh, that's interesting. So now I have to look out for some added Chrome. Well, there you go. Okay, well, moving on. This one. Is that's kind of crazy. I didn't. He didn't mention that. He did mention that when John Butterfield took a big break from designing games. And he worked as he designed interactive exhibits at museums. That's basically what he did. He did that, and then he was part of those guys, Shenandoah design group that were putting out some digital war games for iOS for your iPhone. Anyway, I could talk about John Butterfield all night. I love that guy. I can't wait to see him again. Once it becomes safe to travel to America again, I'm sure I will. This, as mentioned earlier, I think this was a lot of people's first Air game, and it's similar to what was mentioned earlier, that this isn't like a dogfighting game. This is I think this is more like a yeah. I think this is that cover. I think it's the first game a lot of people bought, because like that's a fantastic cover, right? Like I remember when I was a kid and seeing this on the shelf, and another one, totally not the same, but the Avalon Hills France 40 game. That cover, it's just like, oh, it just like called at me every time I would see it. But this one as well. Now I picked this up at a yard sale, or somebody was selling some games recently, because I never bought it back in the day. But the fact that I'd loved the cover for years, when I saw it like for $10, I bought a copy of it. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll even get this one to the table. I hope I do, just to, I sort of like playing older games just to find out, just to try and place them in history, if that makes sense. If you're kind of if you're a student of the history of wargaming, then it can be fun to sort of like play an older game that you missed and go, oh, I see. This game actually invented this, but then it was superseded by this and this and this, whatever. Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting, Michael, to see who thinks RAF is better than Skies Above Britain. I bet they both have their. I bet they both have their defenders. Skies Above Britain. That sounds like a Jerry White game. I bet that's got to be a Jerry White game. Anyway, I don't have really anything else to say about Luftwaffe, other than it's a bit of a trip down memory lane for all of us, right? Here's a more modern game. So this is Wild Blue Yonder. This is it's called Wild Blue Yonder, but this is basically the Down in Flames series, and this is a box where the GMT had put out a whole bunch of different Down in Flames products, and they kind of combined them all into this box, this Wild Blue Yonder box, and it's totally a card game, no board. It's fairly yeah, you're totally right. It's pretty abstract. It's a game where those are cards that show you the planes, but there's a deck of action cards as well, and it's a game where the action cards let you, like if I'm attacking you, I place some kind of an action card, and you need to have an action card that gets you out of whatever kind of tight spot I put you in, or else I'm going to get a shot at you if I have a card where I can fire, right? It's that sort of thing. So in many ways, it's a lighter game. It still has, look, we haven't, yeah, it is a bit pokerish. You're right. That's true. There's enough there that it's still fun, and it does have. I think one of the things that attracts lots of us to air games is the difference between the planes, right? It's like if all the planes performed absolutely the same, I don't think we'd be as interested in World War I or World War II air games. If we're playing World War I and every plane flew exactly like a camel, we'd still have a repertoire of maneuvers we could play, but it just wouldn't be the same. I think what draws us is the difference. Well, yeah, for sure, the chicks for sure, but after the chicks, that goes without saying. The difference between the planes, like I want to see if I can get my Albatross D3 to outmaneuver your camel, that sort of thing. That's yeah, well, damn it, you called me Ox. That's the bass player. That's the guy who never gets laid. Come on, you're hurting my feelings. I've got two guitars on the wall behind me there. Oh, speaking on the wall behind me, if you see, it's probably too far to see that poster beside the acoustic, the Guild there, or the Gibson there. that's a poster of World War One planes, sort of kind of to scale with one another. I'm definitely I'm definitely a World War One plane addict. Anyway, yeah, Wild Blue Yonder is fun. It can be played quickly, and it does lend itself to some campaign style stuff. It's yeah, I think it's worth playing. It's one of those games. It can also be played like as a filler at a convention. Yeah, yeah. Gina is great, and I'm happy to. I'm not sure if your story I think is is true in the broad strokes, Michael. That's true, and they worked on it together, I think, and then Jerry was like, well, Gina can she can just design any game she wants in this series because like she's got it. The uh, I interviewed Jerry White as well, and he talks very glowingly of Gina for sure. That said, what I really want to say about Gina is uh, keep tuning into this show because Gina is her latest thing that she's working on right now is a blind swords game that'll be published by Revolution, and it's on the Atlanta campaign, the Battle for Atlanta, and she's going to come on. She's going to come on live cardboard sometime in July. I think near the end of July. I asked her if she'd come and talk about her new game, and she said yes. And I'm sure she'll talk about. Well, I'll ask her about the air game work that she did with Jerry. Yeah. Well, I would I wouldn't put money against that. Jerry's got the same kind of mind as Butterfield in a way, like goes in its own directions, but like meticulously follows whatever path it's going down. It's yeah, Jerry's great, lovely man, and if you go and listen to that podcast episode where I interviewed Jerry, we end up talking for like 2 hours because we're just talking about wargaming and like games he liked to play as a kid and stuff like that. It was he was a great guy to talk to. Yeah, yes. His Jerry White's rulebook for Atlantic Chase was like a step forward in rule books. It's fantastic. I know that it got a little bit of pushback from a few people because they felt it was a bit like programmed instruction, but it was the easiest programmed instruction you could imagine. It didn't like it. Sometimes programmed instruction in the early stuff feels terrible. No, this rule book is fantastic. It's such a great rule book that when Volko was designing his new game for GMT, Coast Watchers, he said, I need to make better rule books. People are complaining about the rule books for the Levian campaign. I want to make a different kind of rule book. I'm going to make a rule book in the Jerry White Atlantic Chase style. And, like these guys steal from each other. Because they Jerry won't be pissed off at Volko for stealing it. It'd be just like, yeah, it's a good idea. You should do it. It'll make your rule book better. But that's how good the rule book is Volko saying, I gotta try it this way. All right. Oh yeah. Well, I got to slide on that one later. We'll get to it. But before we get there, let's talk about this. Wing Leader. This was the first one. Wing Leader Victories. There was also Wing Leader Supremacy or something. I don't know. There's four of them. There was this one. Then there was one for 43 to 45. Then there was another one for the early war, 3940. I think it was called Wing Leader Blitz or something. There's also been one or two maybe campaign game expansions or something like that for this. This is another. So this is Lee Brimacombe Wood, who's he's got other air games, and he's one of those fellas who, as well as being a game designer, he's a graphic artist. So he's done maps or counters for other people's games as well. This is a totally interesting game, totally novel game. Well, I'll show you this first. These are his aircraft data cards. These just if you're using any of these planes, you just have them in front of you, so you have all the info about the plane in front of you. Those, like he did all those drawings of those planes. I think they're just gorgeous. They're just lovely. Yeah, James. I have I've got all of it as well. It's storage can be a bit of a problem. Yeah, I have them all too. It's a well. I'll I'll talk about it a little bit more. But the other thing I wanted to just show was um, it, all the games we've talked about, except maybe Eagles in the Sky. It's a top-down version view of the fight. This is a side-on view. So the farther up you go on this, the higher the altitude. Lee Birmingham Wood's thesis is that the deciding factor in air combat is how you manage your energy. Energy meaning you know, how fast you're going, how fast you can climb, how fast you can get out of a dive, that sort of thing. So the up down, his thesis is the up down is way more important than the round and round. to put it in simple terms, yeah, it's a totally interesting system, really cool game. I Okay, I played at least a dozen scenarios. I played at least 9 with Pete Wagner, who some of you may know. He's done some. He teaches a bunch of games and he does some playtesting work. So I really played the crap out of it. I find a little bit it runs on rails. I find that there's not enough decision points for me. I don't know. If you're a solo gamer, this is fantastic. There's the fact that it runs on rails a little bit won't bother you at all. I don't know I haven't got rid of it because the damn thing is so beautiful. Those aircraft data cards. This is a really shitty photo. I got this off of BGG. I should have taken some pics of my own because the aircraft counters are like so beautiful. Oh yeah, that makes sense. And I should mention somebody maybe it was even you. Somebody mentioned that the Wing Leader ladder on the Wing Leader Discord channel server is they're looking for some new players. So if you want to play this game, go play on the ladder. In my experience, those ladders they're a great play. They're actually a great way to learn games. They're not a bunch of sharks waiting to kill you. They're the players there are usually totally patient and eager to teach you because they're always eager to have more opponents in the long run, right? So yeah, join a ladder. I totally I recommend it. Yeah, it was it was hard to get. It is hard to get your mind around. I don't disagree. We're so used to thinking of like swirling dog fights and climbing and diving, but like the x-axis, we're used to seeing a lot of movement on the x-axis in games, and to only see this the y-axis and the z-axis instead. Well, I don't know. However you're gonna turn your model. Anyway, it takes a bit to get it around your mind, but it's. I think it's a good model of how it works. The other thing you'll really notice with this game is the counters represent usually a flight. I think they call it a flight. It's like 2 planes, and then they flip and they're just 1 plane, or they're 3 planes and they flip and they're 1 plane, something like that. Can't remember. But when your flight engages another flight, you might get one or two shots, and then you're like low ammo, out of ammo. Like there's the way we've been taught with games where you're just like constantly shooting at the other guy. This game puts a pin in that whole idea. Yeah, that's right. One plane. Okay, there you go. Two planes is a squadron, one plane is a flight. I'm trying to remember it. The last time I played Pete was a couple of years ago. Pete and I now play Last 100 Yards, so we've moved on to that. But good guy and wonderful guy to play with. All right, well that's enough about Last 100 Yards. It's yeah, I think that's probably true. Moving on, Buffalo Wings. So this is the one from this series I own. I haven't played it yet. I just got it recently. I got it because I'd been seeing like the for the Motherland or whatever it's called, the big Russia, the latest installment at my local game store, and it's it goes for like, I don't know, $190 Canadian or something, and it was like, wow, that's a big lift for something I don't know if I'm going to like. And I know that this series is quite is really crunchy, and I don't hate crunchy, but in games where the action's supposed to be fast, I like crunchy less, I guess I'd say. So I'd heard that Buffalo Wings was the same system, but a little bit with a few things thrown away. So this is a more complex Wings, but a less complex for the Motherland. That's an interesting take on it. Yeah, there we go. Simplified. Yeah, so simplified version of a very complex system. So that's what I'm trying to. I don't know if I'm going to like the very complex version. That's what I'm wondering about. It's I don't know. I love air games, but if it takes me 10 minutes to do 10 seconds of time, then it can start to feel like, oh my God, this is never going to end, sort of thing. So I don't know. I'm gonna play this, and if it turns out I do love it, then I'll take the plunge and find a used copy of one of those older. I'm not gonna buy that the Russian one, but I'll try and find the Battle of Britain one or the Battle over Europe one. That sort of those are available at Noble Knight or something like that. Speaking of Noble Knight, I should say the show is partially sponsored by Noble Knight. My affiliate link is in the video description. So if you want to buy some stuff from Noble Knight, they've got a 2-for-1 sale going on right now. Please use my link. I'd be happy to have your support. That's yeah, right. Yeah, that's when you start to wonder, like, what are you doing, right? Okay, well, one last World War II one that I own, and this one I just got recently. Oh no, is this? Oh no, sorry. This is this is still Buffalo Wings. Yeah, this is just the Buffalo Wings components. There's nothing exciting here. Just I just wanted to show you that it's it kind of looks like what we expect air games to look like these days. Yeah, we'll see. I think Buffalo Wings. I've heard that you might be able to play the bigger ones, but using the Buffalo Wings system, and that might just be the sweet spot for me. We'll find out. Anyway, here's another one that's completely unlike anything else. This is David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin, of course, and they took their Undaunted system, which was it's a deck builder basically, but with little round counters. But it was a ground game, a surprisingly good one. I thought it was going to be too simple. It turned out I really liked it in the end. So I loved it. So they surprised everybody and moved it to the skies, you can see instead of the circular counters that the other iterations of this game have, these are more teardrop shaped because, of course, with aircraft, you need to have some facing. They're not like soldiers or riflemen that Undaunted Normandy had and things like that. Anyway, it's still this is definitely a deck builder at heart. Though there you can see the cards. The game is the artwork. I love the artwork. They've used the same artist through all the Undaunted series, or at least all the ones that are World War II. I don't know if Callisto has the same artist or not, but anyway, if you've been, I don't know, if you haven't tried any of the Undaunted games before, I don't think this would be the place to start. I would just get the first one, Undaunted Normandy. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be the same experience either, because I've only played it once and I can't remember it fully enough to talk about it. But there's definitely differences. Like, planes can't just hang in the air the way a rifleman can stay in the same spot forever, right? So it does play a little differently from the other Undaunted games. But I recommend, if you think the Undaunted games are too simple for you, find somebody who has one and play it with them. Don't play the first 3 or 4 scenarios. They're learning scenarios and they're garbage. I mean, they're just garbage in terms of they're not much fun. Once you get into like scenarios 4, 5, 6, 7, oh man, it's super fun. You'll love it. It's great. Oh, there you go. Good to know. Yeah, the movement needs to be a little bit different. As I said, you can't. The airplanes can't just hang in the air the way we're used to. Anyway, that's it's just surprises me. We've looked at a lot of games already tonight, and there's a few that just really stand out in terms of they completely changed the paradigm in terms of how we might think about an air game, and this is one of them. I have one final World War II one that I own, and this one is the one that I just recently got. This was on sale. I don't think this was a big seller when it came out. I bought this one to check it out because A, it was cheap, and B, well, actually B and C. B, it's by Phil Sabin, who's an interesting guy. I don't think he has a lot of games to his credit, but he's got a few, and he's he writes about gaming a lot. He's a professor. You see his writing on. Well, anyway, interesting guy. And then the other thing is, this is specifically a fighters versus bombers game, but it's not like say RAF where it's more operational. This is more as I understand it, unless I've been completely confused. This is a tactical game, so you're going to fly your fighters maybe through fight their escorts and then actually fight the bombers. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody who's even played it. This is what it's again one of those another game that kind of looks a lot like all the other games that we've been talking about tonight. But anyway, it's I don't know. I'll get it to the table sometime. It doesn't look overly complex. I think that's a Phil Sabin thing too. Is he likes he's a designer who likes to not overly complicate things. Anyway, I have I have one modern game, and this one's sort of a cheat. I'm not a modern gamer. I'm not a Cold War gone hot gamer. It feels like my knowledge of tanks and planes kinds of ends in 1945. It's just a hole. It's just a hole in my knowledge. And anyway, but I have this game, and this one's a bit of a cheat because this is from VUCA. This is Yves Ratel's game, and has it's Cold War gone hot, but it has land, air, and naval, but it's got detailed rules for each one. I've played the introductory air scenarios. I played the introductory naval scenarios. I played the introductory land scenarios, and now I'm at my point with this game where I'm just playing my first scenario that puts all three together, and it's it's kind of blowing my mind a little bit, but it's enjoyable. Anyway, I just put it on the list because it's there is an air element in it that is, I don't know. It's not like Foxbat and Phantom where it's totally tactical, but it's almost tactical. It's sort of because we're talking about battle games here with this. This is not a big operational thing really. Anyway, that's all the games I know. Yeah, that's true. It does have like 26 counter sheets, but that's partly because VUCA does the beautiful thing of they do pre-rounded counters and they're all punch out. So rather than like 214 counters on a sheet, there's 100, right? So there's a lot of counter sheets, but not as many counters as that amount of counter sheets would have indicated in an old Avalon Hill game for sure. Yes, yeah, I saw that, Michael. I thought that was a fantastic idea. Saban took the wing leader counters because they're so beautiful and made his own game with them, which was like fantastic. What a good idea. Like those counters are like some of the best counters you've ever seen. Why wouldn't you do it? It's a fantastic idea. Okay. I'm going to talk. I have a few other games here that I just want to mention because either I owned them previously or I just think that they should be mentioned. B-17 Leaders. So that's part of the Leader series, right? That's is that Dan Verson games? Is that I'm thinking that's where that is. There was also, wasn't it the Queen of the Skies? Was that B-17 Queen of the Skies? I think that's like one of the original, one of the early, DVG. That's right, yeah. The old Queen of the Skies. Well, we'll talk about that in a minute when we get to something newer. But that's I had that one as well. That was one of the first. That was the first solo game I had that was one of those early ones from the 80s where it was just like you set up your crew on your bomber, you got your targets, and then it's just endless rolling on charts, rolling and rolling and rolling. And the fun of the game is the narrative that it produced, right? It's like, I don't have that game anymore, but that's what I really remember about it. Anyway, that's not on my list, although a follow-up game to it is. But here's a few. These are just the counters from Red Strike. Sorry, forgot to show them. Anyway, this one, this is an old Avalon Hills game. I thought I was going to love this game because I love Richthofen's War so much. This one has a more sophisticated flight model, and I just found it dry as a popcorn fart. I just could never get into it. The pieces are beautiful. They like so many games, it has like kind of aircraft data cards. They were gorgeous, and but it just never I never got that same that I had with Richthofen's War. So I sold this one, and I sort of regret it because the pieces were so cool, but you can't keep them all, right? This one we talked about already. Bloody April by Terry Simo. I'm never sure how to say it. I play online with Terry. I asked him online whether it was Simo or Simo, and he said yes. So I still don't know. Anyways, just going backwards, yeah, Vlad. There was DVG down. All that Down in Flame stuff originally came out of Dan Verson Games. He's the original designer, I think. and I think then he sort of licensed it over to GMT. I think that's how it went. What I don't know if there was a Down in Flames in the Pacific. There probably was, but what I do know is I can't even remember the name of it. We talked about it. Wild Blue Yonder is the first volume. The new volume that's still being worked on is the next volume is still being worked on in that series, and it's set in the Pacific. And it's still being play tested. Last time I was at GMT, there was a report on it saying like there's something about the way it was working in the Pacific that wasn't working right. They had come up with a new model for. So yeah. Terry's great. Is so like I said, hey Terry, I'm gonna be away. I can't play our game for a couple of weeks. I'm going to Iceland, and he's like, oh yeah, I was stationed there in the '80s. Or like whenever I say anything about a place, he's always like, oh yeah, I was stationed there. He's a great guy. Really like Terry. Anyway, this is his game, Bloody April, and as I said, this is more of an operational game. It's kind of it fits in a like you're taking off, but you're taking off with a squadron of planes at once. You're not doing maneuvers. You're doing missions, but there's still a hex board. I don't know. I should never have sold it. It's expensive on the secondary market if I ever wanted to get it back, and it's just got like the best cover. Like, how could I have sold that? I don't know. That was crazy of me. Here's another one I sold. I know somebody mentioned tonight that this is their favorite. This is a minis game. So it's not the kind of minis where you have to paint them yourself. They're the beautiful models, just gorgeous. I don't know, they cost about $20 a piece or something. So every time you buy a plane, it's another $20, which is not a big deal. It's gorgeous. I bought I don't know, maybe 8 planes and the starter pack and a big neoprene mat. When my kid was younger, I thought they'd dig it because they did play a few games with me, but they just didn't enjoy the system. It didn't like as much as they liked the models. They just didn't like the way the whole combat and everything worked. And so I ended up selling it on because I'm just not a minis guy, and I knew if I did convince myself to go hard on it, I was gonna spend just like a boatload of money on planes because they're so beautiful, and I'd just have to have it. Yeah. Well, yeah. Tell me this: if Jonathan, if you're a player of that game, I don't recall altitude being a big part of I remember like lots of maneuvers and maneuver cards and stuff, but I don't remember tracking altitude so much. Maybe it was just altitude bands or something. The combat system I sort of liked. That was okay, but like I said, I just didn't want to get into owning a million minis because I know that if I get into a system and I start to like it, I'm susceptible to that completist thing. Not always, but I do sometimes. Anyway, that's Wings of Glory. Here's another one I had back in the day. This is going back to Craig S. Taylor. This is Air Force. This is obviously this is World War I in Europe, basically, or World War II in Europe. Sorry. So we got we got the Focke-Wulf 109s. We got the Mustangs and whatnot. Great aircraft data cards in this game as well. But again, and I find this sometimes with Craig Taylor's games, I found it technically wonderful, but a little bit dry. I don't know. It didn't. Again, it didn't grab me the way good old Richtovens War did. That said, back at the time, um, I I liked it so much that I also bought Dauntless, which was the Pacific the Pacific version. Yeah, well, there you go. Altitude rules, but you never played with them, which totally your choice. But it's sort of, to my mind, anything without any air game without altitude is kind of missing a big part of the plot. But whatever. I played a lot of Ace of Aces without the advanced rules, so no altitude that way either. I get how it's fun to just fly around and try and shoot the other guy up. That's fantastic. Yes, yes. Simultaneous movement. That was the other thing that made this game a little bit tricky for me, was that at the point that I had this game, I was playing not solitaire games, but I was playing two-player games solo just about exclusively, and simultaneous movement games, pre-recorded movement games, are not great for the solo player. It's pretty hard to surprise yourself. Anyway, it's still a well-regarded game, and I know I talked to a friend the other night who said back in the day that like they wore the counters out on Air Force. They just loved it so much. So there you go. This is a game that I'd love to get a copy of. This is another game by Lee Brimacon Wood. I think this one is a bit more operational again. I think that's the case. This is air operations in Vietnam, specifically over Hanoi, and I've heard so many people whose opinions I respect talk about this being their favorite Lee Brimacon Wood game. So it makes me go, well, I need to check it out. Oh, that's interesting. Yes, I think I'd heard that. That's right. Sort of. So, two totally different conflicts, but the same sort of operational system. Oh, that's great. Yeah. So that's basically what Michael. That's basically what we were talking about with Bloody April as well, right? Daily missions and flights, and that's it. Yeah. Oh, that's great. So obviously, some fans of Downtown here. So I think I've been told the right thing in that this is a good thing to try and track down. So I'll try and give it a go. Someone brought. I think somebody mentioned this series earlier as well. This is Jerry White. I think this is the one that he did with Gina Willis. So this is maybe the second one in the series. Maybe the other one was Skies Over the Reich or something like that. I can't remember the title. Anyway, these are super highly regarded solo games. That's the reason I don't own it, is because I spend enough money on opposed games that I don't have a lot of bank for solo games. But people totally love this series as well. Really well-regarded series. And then this is a different series, but this is Jerry White again. This is he's got the Enemy Coast Ahead. This is the Dam Buster raid. He's got another one in this series that is the Doolittle raid, and these are like sort of like what I was saying about B-17 Queen of the Skies. These are games where it's all about the narrative, right? These are games where you do have some decisions. You got decisions on your loadout. You got a few decisions along the way, but it's what happens along the way, whether your guys survive, all that sort of thing. It's partly about what you decide to do, but it's just as big or even bigger what happens. That's the appeal of these games. I think about getting this one sometimes because when I was a kid, my dad worked for the Forest Service, and his direct boss was a guy named Doc Sutherland, who just happened to be the doc, the guy who was called Doc. That was one of the in one of the planes on the dam buster rig. He was a dam buster, so I've always felt like I had this tangential relationship to the dam busters. So I don't know if I'm going to buy one of them. I'll probably buy this one instead of the Doolittle one. Okay, one last game. Oh, let's have. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. It's funny how a game can break your will to play it, right? It's yeah, I totally hear what you're saying, James. Yeah, this feels the same way, right? So one last one. This one's from Legion, um, and I think basically what this is, if I understand it correctly, they took the old Avalon Hill B-17 Queen of the Skies system and fluffed it up and also expanded it so that instead of just flying B-17s, you can fly I don't know, super fortresses for all I know, or Blenheims, or I don't know, all kinds of stuff. I think that's what they do with the target for today. They've expanded the scope of it and give you way more things. Oh, is that right? Is it that? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's just B-24s. Uh, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not what I thought it was. They do have. I think there's more than one game in the series for Legion. I think they got another one target for tonight or something as well for night bombing. Anyway, it was an interesting system. Like I said, you rolled dice on a lot of tables, rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling to see how if you survived, all that sort of stuff. I remember at the same time they came out with I can't remember what it was called, but they had it was called Patton's Best. They had a solitary game where you were like a Sherman tank commander that worked kind of the same way. Um, yeah, yeah. So there we go. So that's the RAF version. So this is got the American planes, and then the RAF. The target for tonight is um, sounds like RAF flying raids over Germany. There you go. Well, yeah. So I loved those games when I was young, but I don't think I'd have the. I think I'd have the patience maybe for the the which ones here, the series Gina Willis did with this stuff. I think I might have the patience for that. I don't know if I'm going to have the patience for the stuff that's based on Queen of the Skies. I think maybe my patience for that is in the rearview mirror, maybe. But I think well, that's all the games that came to my head. I'm sure there's a few that I missed out. Even a couple that were mentioned tonight that I should have made a little note of. Oh, that's funny to hear, Bob. Yeah, I think I totally remember that game. I was, like I said, I was a tank freak back then, and so definitely played that quite a bit. But when I think back on it's fiddly as hell. Um, in some ways, it's not a solo game, but the tank duel game that GMT has got a bit of the same fiddliness in that it's got like counters for all the different crew members on each tank and things like that. Sort of when I first played Tank Duel, it reminded me a little bit of Patton's Best because of all those like men in each position. You don't get that a lot in most armor games. There's a lot of I didn't talk about Foxbat and Phantom. I didn't talk. There's uh, Baltic Skies or something. There's it's called something like that. But there's what I'm trying to say is there's a bunch of air games on modern air combat that I just haven't tried out, haven't played. So who knows? Well, that's yeah. I'm gonna give it a go. That's that's definitely. Oh, that's interesting. So, whoops, that's what I want to say. So, American Tank Eights is more like Patton's Best. I didn't know if it was that or there's uh, Dan Verson also has those tank leader games that are solo tank games as well. Um, so, uh, yeah, I don't know. I can't go down this. I can't go down the solitaire rabbit hole, or I'll never come back up. Um, I I should say though, we were talking about Terry Simo. He's the developer on a new game that's coming out from Legion, a solitaire game, and it's an interesting game. It's about the Stalingrad airlift. So, as a solitaire player, you are tasked with trying to get supplies into the Stalingrad fortress. Basically, it's cool game. I played. He invited me into the Discord server, and shot me a PDF of the rules, and I played it through, and yeah, it's totally fun. It's it's that thing where you're rolling to see what kind of well, you decide how many planes and which planes are going to be in the mission you're sending out, and then you roll to find out as you go what kind of enemy you face. There's rules for how to do the combat. They're totally simple. I shouldn't say simple, but there's no decisions to be made. So once you're in the combat, you just roll it off and see what happens. So I think it's gonna be a fun game. And if any of you are like, as it seems, you're solitaire air fans, I think it's going to be well worth your worth your look. Again, that one comes from Legion. Can't remember the designer's name. I feel bad about that, but yeah, I've seen this too at Vlad at conventions where they have a big B-17. It's like a tournament, but it's all totally cooperative, right? And everybody has their own crew, and it's like instead of just you and your plane, there's like 24 planes. It's kind of it's like that you're creating a giant narrative instead of just an individual narrative. It looks really fun, actually. Yeah, there we go. That's what it's called, Knights over Stalingrad. Thanks, Jonathan. I haven't played Aces of Valor, but I do remember being told that it used the same mechanics. Cool game. I'm interested to see it when it comes out. I hope it does well. That was all the sort of important games that I could think of. If anybody thinks of any other ones before we sign off tonight, we're almost we're at almost at 2 hours, so we've had a good go of it. Something about I don't know. I know. That's a good one. That's I've seen this demoed. Night Witches by Liz Davidson and David Thompson. That's going to be coming from Fort Circle, and for anybody who hasn't seen it or doesn't know it, the Night Witches were female Soviet night bombing pilots. I think I've got that right. So typical of David Thompson to pick to be working on an obscure piece of history, and I think that's Liz Davidson's first game, but not her last. I think she's working on something new now as well. So good for her. Yeah, Stephen, that game passed me by, but I remember having friends like when I was in high school. I was more of a Avalon Hill guy, but there was definitely folks who were more SPI guys. I mean, we all played all of it, but the SPI guys loved Air War for sure. Yeah. Hey, thanks. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for stopping by. I love your shows as well, and I look forward to seeing the big reveal for the CSRs as well. That's going to be great. Yeah, I mean, there's no lack of air games, right? It's funny. When I say I'm doing a podcast or a live stream on air, there is definitely a chunk of war gamers who are like, no, I only do ground. I don't do air or sea. There's definitely those guys are out there, but man, I don't get it. Oh, that's so funny. Like if we consider that Milton Bradley's Dogfight an actual war game, that's my first war game. That I got that before I got Tobruk and Richthofen's War. Little plastic planes and cards. The cards didn't have maneuvers on them. I can't even remember what the cards did, but definitely Milton Bradley's Dogfight was my first actual like military game, for lack of a better word. Yeah, I think if we're of a certain vintage, a lot of us had that. I bought that. We went on a trip through. We went and visited a bunch of relatives down in Iowa and in the Midwest in 1976. My family and I. So it was the U.S. You'll all remember it was the bicentennial, of course, and Milton Bradley's Dogfight and a few of their other games. I think they'd come out with like special bicentennial versions. So like they just didn't change the game at all. It was just like a new way to say, hey, happy birthday, America. Here's a ward game. Anyway, I had to choose between. I remember in the store I could only get one, and I had to choose between an air one and one that had ships, and I chose Dogfight, which totally makes sense. I mean, if they would have had one that had tanks, I suppose it would have been, it would have been a hard choice. But not that I don't like naval games, I do. But well, there you go. Barrel rolls and bursts. I remember the bursts. I don't remember the barrel rolls at all. Yeah, that was the other one. I had to choose between broadsides and Dogfight. I never actually did get broadsides. I moved on to sort of. I wouldn't say I moved on to Avalon Hill and SPI games sort of the very next year. So that was that. But man, those first few games you buy, like you played the paper off them, even if you were just playing by yourself. You just now we live in a time when so many games come out every year. You're constantly. I don't know. There's this thing where we sometimes play a game once and move on from it. I don't want to sound like the old guy who's grumbling because I'm not grumbling about it. I'm just kind of remarking on it. I do miss taking a deep dive in a game. I sort of made it a goal this year to pick a game or two where it's like where I'm going to play it opposed 3 times at least and go back to that experience a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some nostalgia there. And some of these games, I'm sure if I broke out Richthofen's War, I think I'm going to have a good time. I bet it's not going to have I'm not going to have a good time. I don't know. Could be. I could, you never know. Like I said, there's a few variants for it that I could try to see, but there's some older ones too that I haven't tried yet. I got no problem trying those. Anyway, I think that's this has been a very lively chat tonight. I appreciate all of you for hanging in there. This is great. This is one of my favorite topics. This feels just as good as the night when we talked about World War II tactical. These are a couple subjects that I could just focus on never play another operational game again. It wouldn't be the end of the world if I just played these games forever. Anyway, thanks again. I think it's about time to sign off. We're what are we at? Yeah, we're at almost at 2 hours here. So thanks again. Thanks for all your comments. Please, if you can, let people know that it's happening and that it's been a good time so far. Like the video. I'm sure you probably already all have subscribed anyway. But check out the podcast if you haven't done that, or the website. And the Discord server. I think I put a link to the Discord server. I've seen some of you are in the Discord server and then come here. But if you haven't, there's quite often there's somebody hanging around the Discord server and just talking about something about war games. That it could be anything. You never know. But if you want to have some live war game chatter, the Discord server is a great place to do it. Anyway, I think that's it for me for tonight. So this is Grant Litterberg for Pushing Cardboard. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. I've had a great time.